This one goes out to all you guys who struggle with half guard, and I'm talking about passing half guard, submitting from top half guard. This can be a confusing position, especially for you newbies and beginners, but with some clear thinking, some simple strategy, and some tactics that work, it's easily solved. With that, let's jump in. I'll never forget being a white belt 9 years ago and not understanding a thing about half guard. I didn't understand what I was supposed to do from the bottom, and I certainly didn't know how to solve it when I was on top. We're actually training half guard at Grindstone this month, so I thought this was a good opportunity to really tap into this. So in this first example, we are going to be going for a straight ankle lock, but I want to focus on a principle that will apply to all of jiu-jitsu. You guys have been with me for a while, know I like to focus on principles that can be applied in multiple scenarios. So as you can see in this example, I'm using my hands to see what my opponent's feet are doing. A lot of times new people in jiu-jitsu will look right at the limb they want to attack. And if I'm rolling with a new person, I'm looking at your eyes. I'm watching where you're looking at, because you're going to tell me most of the time what you want. And I can tell you right now, if I'm in bottom half guard and you want to attack one of my legs, a lot of times these guys look down at the feet, and I know exactly what you want. So depending on what my feet are doing, whether they're stacked or laced, crossed, will depend on what you do next. In this example, my partner's feet are stacked, one on top of the other. And I see this not with my eyes, but touching with my hands, because I don't want to give myself away. And the more you do this, obviously, the better you'll get at it, but you don't necessarily want to feel around like you're a raccoon digging through the trash. All you need to do is simply put your hand there, and you'll be able to tell if his feet are crossed or stacked. So in this example, I like to scoop his top leg with my right arm, and I like to slide my radial bone down as close to his heel as I can. There's a little notch just above the heel, right in the Achilles tendon. That's where you want your radial bone or your forearm bone. I see a lot of new guys try to attempt a straight ankle lock, and their forearms or radial bones are pressed up into the calf or even the soleus of the lower leg. If you're too far away from the heel, this isn't going to be as effective. You're really going to have to crank it and rely on your strength to get the tap, and sometimes it's just a complete waste of energy. So make sure your radial bone or your forearm, the bone that's in line with your thumb, is slid down the leg so that it's sitting just above the heel on the Achilles tendon. Now, sometimes when you scoop and collect that ankle, your opponent may try to pull their foot away if they don't know any better. If their toes are facing up and their heel is facing down, they are doing you a favor. They're effectively bringing your heel to your radial bone to make this nice and tight. So if you're new to all this and your opponent tries to pull their foot away, this is a good opportunity for you to bite down on that sweet spot. It's not the time to let go of it. They're doing you a favor. Now from here, there's a couple things happening at once. If I'm pinning with my left hand, I'm going to replace that hand with my left knee. My left hand will then post on the ground, which allows me to lean my weight to the left. This then allows me to swivel my foot with my knee pressed into his leg, almost like a windshield wiper, so that my foot or the laces of my foot are up against his butt cheek. Now from here, I can sit my body down onto the mat, not on top of his leg, but onto the mat. It's at this point that I will begin to sit back. Now, if I don't have my radial bone locked up just above the heel, this is a good time as I sit back to do that. As I'm sitting back, I can allow the leg to slide within my grip without letting go too much so that the foot slips away completely. I keep a little bit of pressure there so that the leg can move and that my forearm ends up just on top of the heel or just on top of that Achilles tendon just above the heel. Now from here, I'll make a knife hand with the arm that's trapping his leg, and I'll grab the meat of my hand that's just below my pinky. As I'm sitting back, I'll choke up on this grip so that my arms are sliding up towards my chest. And at the same time, my right leg will swivel over. I'll drop my heel just inside the pocket inside his hip bone. Now, what's really important to remember here is if you're being lazy or light with that foot that's sitting on his hip, it's going to be very easy for your opponent to attack that foot. What I want you to do is not only pinch your knees together, but you're going to stomp your heel into your opponent's hip, almost like you're doing a barbell hip thrust. You need that positive pressure into your opponent's body through your foot to help ensure your safety. It doesn't guarantee it, but it elevates it. Some of you guys probably have some really high level counter leg lockers. We've got a couple here. They're a huge pain in the butt to deal with, but trust me when I say stopping that foot, not being lazy with it, but actually applying positive pressure will keep you a bit more safe. Now from here, once you have this all locked up, it's simply choking up on the arms and bridging through your hips to get the tap. If your forearm's in the right place, it'll be pretty instant. If your forearm is too far up the leg, you're gonna notice that you're gonna be fighting for it. That's a good opportunity to go ahead and readjust. What you're gonna notice is that once you start diving into leg locks, the sooner you can hit the sweet spot, the better, especially when you're going against someone, like I already mentioned, being a counter leg locker. You don't wanna give a counter leg locker any chance or any opportunity to go ahead and counter leg lock you. So if you're not in the sweet spot, if you don't have this tight, you don't have the setup correct, you're giving a counter leg locker a lot of opportunity to go ahead and finish the match right there. This can't be sloppy, it's gotta be tight. But when it is tight, it's a pretty instant tap because it feels like your whole ankle is about to shatter in an instant. Straight ankles are probably one of the first leg locks you'll learn as a white belt, and this is a great way to implement it into your game. If you're not trying this one yet, I highly recommend it. And I just want to take a second to give my sponsor, X Martial, a shout out. On the mats, you've got seconds to react, and sometimes even less. You train for hours to move with precision. Your gear should keep up. X Martial makes high quality, high performance no-gi gear. The fit is clean and the material, durable, breathable, and built for battle. One thing I can't stand about certain no-gi brands is how quickly the material falls apart and how quickly the designs wash away. Literally every single one of my rash guards that I own from X Martial has stood the test of time. I've been training jiu-jitsu for 9 years and I still have rash guards that look brand new. And since we're talking about the designs, they're original, they're unique, they help you look good. If you're gonna go compete and you don't feel you look your best, you think that's helping you in your performance, you wanna go out and feel good about the person that you've built. And no-gi attire definitely helps with that. So if you want to look as good as me and probably even better, get over to xmartial.com and grab yourself some gear. I know you'd be happy you did. Look good, feel sharp, roll hard. Let's get back to the video. Moving into example 2, we're in the same setup. My opponent is in half guard. Now again, just like the first one, I'm seeing with my hands. I'm not looking down at what his feet are doing. I can see with my hands. In this example, I feel that they're crossed. I don't like to fight crossed ankles here, especially if it's someone who's good at it, because not only is it a waste of time, you are telling that guy exactly what you want. I want to unlace your legs so that I can straight ankle you. It's very telegraphed to try to unwind those crossed feet. So instead of even trying to go down that road, what we can do is move into the next progression. What you'll notice is that when someone's feet are crossed in half guard, their knee shield is a little bit more shallow. That knee doesn't sit so high up on your torso, which makes it a little bit easier to pass in certain circumstances. So one of my favorite things to do is place my right hand on his hip while I place my right knee on his inner thigh of the leg that's on the ground. Now at the same time, that knee is pinning his inner thigh, my left leg bases out wide. I need this for balance and stability. Now from here, I'm going to use my right elbow to push the rest of that knee shield completely out of the way. And once this is out of the way, all I need to do is back step up and over that leg. Now, I will admit this is probably the most difficult part for new people to get down, the back step, because it feels like almost like a trust fall. It doesn't feel like you should be able to trust it, but you can. Just try to rep it. Don't practice this fast if you haven't done it yet. Just try to get good, clean reps, because you can build speed off of that. Now, once I've back step over that leg, I want my left knee to touch my right heel. And I want my body pressed up as close to his hips as possible. I don't want to be sitting close to his knees. That's creating distance and I'm too far away from his body. I need to be pressed up and tight. Now from here, I'll take both of my hands and grab his far knee. I call this my air brakes. This allows me to sit back in a slow, controlled manner that doesn't make me fall away from his body as I sit back. Also, at the same time, I can't roll backwards over my foot, so I tuck my left foot up against my opponent's body. This gets the foot out of the way and allows me to sit back over onto my hip safely without blowing my own ankle out. Now, what you don't want to do is fall backwards flat on your back. As you can see, I'm landing on my right hip, I'm on my side. Now from here, I can start looking for a straight ankle on that top leg, and that's usually what I'll go for first because it puts his foot in my armpit, which sets up the next part of this submission, which is important if the straight ankle lock doesn't work. Now, because the foot of the top leg is buried in my armpit, I will then be able to take my left hand and weave underneath the other leg. This will put his shins in a cross formation. From here, as you can see, I'll raise that left hand to the sky and I'll reach over with my right hand and get a gable grip. Now all I need to do is twist my torso so that I'm bringing that foot I have collected in front of me. There's only one way to twist that this works. If you twist the opposite way, it just unravels the whole thing and you'll be able to tell pretty quickly that it's not working. One thing you can do to make this a little bit tighter, if the twist isn't giving the bite that you want, you can hip into his legs a little bit and give a good twist and you should get the tap there. This is called the clover leaf and it's one of my favorites, not only because it's really powerful, it's very painful, but it's also really hard to unravel once you're stuck in it. I've been training jiu-jitsu for 9 years. I'm a brown belt. I've seen a lot of jiu-jitsu in my day and I haven't seen anyone be able to solve the clover leaf once it's set into motion and locked in. Another thing I like about this one is that it looks complex. It does, and I understand that, but trust me, once you get into the reps of it, it's truly not that bad. As long as you can hit the back step and you know how to weave your arm underneath the correct leg when you're setting the clover leaf, when the straight ankle is set or the foot is in your armpit, you should have no problems with this. And remember, you don't want to be flat on your back trying this. You want to be on your side, up on your hip. It'll give you a much better angle, much better torque. And those are some of my 2 favorite ways to attack half guard that result in leg locks. If you guys have other ways you like to do this, by all means, share it in the comments. I'm not here to say my way is the only way. I'm very much still a student in learning and in a lot of ways a beginner at jiu-jitsu, right? The more I learn, the more I realize I have a lot more to know. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate all the support, all the comments, all the love. Because of you, I get to do this and I'm very grateful. So thank you. With that, you know how we like to end them. Sometimes backwards, always forwards. I'll see you in the next one.